Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm your host, Steve Henning, and no matter the time of day or where you're joining us from, as always, we thank you for being here. Today, we're going to talk about carbon neutrality. And, I think most of us have probably heard a lot about EVs, alt fuel vehicles, etc. But this discussion on carbon neutrality is going to be a bit different than probably many of the discussions you've heard. So I'm happy to welcome Matt Kallstrom from the Global Improvement Group. Matt, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, Steve. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And to give a little history for anybody watching, so Matt and I actually met at an automotive event. I think it was earlier this summer, if I recall. Is that right, Matt?
Yep, NIADA in Las Vegas.
Okay. Yeah, Vegas, where almost every show occurs, right?
Yep, I love going there multiple times a year.
Me too. Yeah, I understand. So as Matt and I started talking, I really found his story and his company and their mission pretty intriguing. And therefore, the thought in the back of my head was, gosh, we need to do a podcast at some point. So today we're fortunate enough to be able to do that. So Matt, maybe if you would kind of go back to the beginning, tell us, I guess, how you got the idea, what the company mission is, and really a little bit of the history, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. I appreciate it, Steve. So the start of this company is quite unique and quite similar to other entrepreneurial startups. So kind of that like start in the garage, bootstrapping it, eating ramen noodles type of feel. Essentially, I came from a corporate background, kind of just wanted to do something a little bit different, always wanted to kind of run my own business. And I started it actually with another company that failed. And during that process, without going too far into it, I essentially was like, well, this company's not going to work. And on the way back from that event, I was stuck in a traffic jam. I was like, man, no one is driving anywhere, but like everyone's car is on and all these emissions are coming out. And like there was no solution for this whatsoever. So that was really the light bulb moment where I'm like, well, I think I can help out with this. And I went to my parents' cabin in the middle of the woods, hunkered down for a couple of years, took no pay, took my corporate America lessons, made some phone calls, did some meetings, built it up, and now we are here today.
That's a pretty cool story. And the fact that you did it in a cabin in the woods, I think is fairly apropos considering what the company does. So let's jump into that just a little bit. Tell us a little more about the Global Improvement Group and really what you do.
Sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Essentially our biggest mission is to align businesses with the planet. So, what we've been doing as a society really is we've found a really good way to figure out how to like take, make, repeat, with resources from our planet. And I'm a believer in abundance, but I think we need to start thinking about, hey, is this the right way to do it where it's just a one-sided, we're trying to get plants, to put what they take back into it, but do it in a way that's smart for the business. So we have a lot of different, angles and strategies to make sure that aligns with the business goals. It's not also just where we just take from the business and give back. We create mutually beneficial relationships between the two. And ultimately our goal is to make the biggest positive impact in the world as possible. So we plant a ton of trees. We do a little bit of ocean cleanup right now. And that's kind of our main focuses so far.
Okay. So let's call it your target audience. Is that really automotive dealerships, or is it beyond that? Who's your primary, partner or customer?
Yeah, so it's definitely automotive dealerships. I would say about 70% of the business is within automotive. And then we just get like inbound leads, honestly, for the rest of it. It can turn into any type of business. We have people that sell TV mounts on Amazon. We have hairstylists. We have people that make meal kits. We have people that make beauty products. So we have people that rent dumpsters. I mean, we have businesses of all types that are a part of it, but the vast majority is within automotive.
Okay. And it sounds like there's maybe not a typical business based on that broad spectrum that you just described. But what's the, I guess, driving reason or driving force behind a business wanting to get involved in something like this?
Great question. I mean, I think like there's a multitude of different things. So one, the customer base is demanding it more and more than ever. So, if you're going to do your business right, you got to think about what your customer wants. It goes beyond, what you think you want or whatever, you think is right. It's not about that. It's about your customer. And customers across the map, no matter where they're buying from or what they're buying, are caring more who they buy from and what they do and what they believe in. So they're buying with their morals and values a lot more. Especially when you consider a higher ticket item like a vehicle, that's a substantial purchase. So they want to make sure that they buy from, who they want to buy from. So we can turn these businesses into be more appealing to the customer base that's growing like that. So one is to align with their customers better. Two is to simply make a legacy and do the right thing and help give back to the planet. So that helps. Three is these partnerships come either at no cost or a lot of times it's a profit center. So we can help boost the bottom line, which is super unique. And four, if you think of like traditional marketing, it's paying to get your name out there in a positive light. This accomplishes that, but it comes for free or it's a profit center, like I said. So there's a lot of benefits to do it. And ultimately, going back to that legacy piece is, really the kicker of like, hey, when I'm done, I can remember that I planted a forest, I helped the environment, I did, my part through it. And that's really, I think, the big reason to do it.
That's interesting. So just to be maybe perfectly blunt or direct, so and to make sure that our audience understands, it's really a program ultimately for planting trees on behalf of whomever it might be to offset some of the impact on the planet. Is that an accurate way to state that?
Yeah. So basically, the Drive Carbon Neutral program, the Keys for Trees, the one in automotive, the real big piece of that is like, hey, these vehicles are going out the door and they're creating emissions. Let's make up for that. So what we do is we plant enough trees to offset the emissions that are going to be created by that vehicle the entire time they're going to own that vehicle. So what we've done through that is essentially erase the carbon footprint. So it's like that vehicle didn't leave the lot. That's back to the planet. That's that positive mutual relationship.
Yeah.
And that's what it accomplishes. So we plant enough trees to basically get rid of the carbon footprint of the vehicle. And our partners, essentially sell it like a product. It's a really interesting, unique product, but it's just like an extended warranty or insurance or something. It's like, hey, you want to do this and spend maybe a cup of coffee a month to do your part, which a lot of people do. This is an option for you now. So we unlock that ability to do that and give that service to the customer.
Which is a unique approach for a number of reasons. The audience that we speak to on this podcast is really the commercial vehicle audience. So we're not talking a car or a truck that you drive necessarily every day for personal use. It's for your business. And the fact of the matter is, while EVs are gaining ground, there's certain use cases right now where an EV just doesn't work, at least not yet. So maybe this is a good alternative to say, okay, you're right, we didn't buy an EV, and if that's important to the customer base of that business. However, we've gone down a path of something a little bit different. We do still care about the environment. We're going to have that legacy, as you mentioned, but we're doing it in a slightly different fashion. I would imagine most dealerships, and perhaps by extension, if it's commercial vehicles in particular, maybe those businesses probably promote the fact that they're involved in this as well to their customers. Yes.
Yeah, that's really the whole point is, if you keep your eye open for these type of things, you start seeing it everywhere. I mean, I saw it on toilet paper. I see it on coconut water. Like if you look at the products, you'll see it all over the place where there's carbon neutrality amongst the chain that they use. And that's the big piece. That's what's tying into the customer base. Because like you said, maybe not EVs aren't perfect, but are you doing something? Customers are looking for that sort of thing. So that's what we unlock. And I completely agree. EVs, they're just not perfect. They take a lot of mining power to create them and stuff. Like we just haven't perfected that yet. So this unlocks like a step in the right direction, and it's maybe more practical for some of our partners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. And again, like I say, EVs or really alt fuel vehicles in general, there's certain use cases where they're, 100% viable, but then there's others where at least today they're not. So here's a different way you can approach it and still, do your part, so to speak. So I like the approach. So tell us a little bit, let's just talk numbers for just a second. So, planting trees, planting a forest, what does that mean? What kind of numbers are you talking about?
Sure. So far, we are really, really close. I was hoping today we'd have a milestone to talk about. We're very close to just achieving to plant over 4 million trees through the history of the company, which is just over 4 years. So right now we pace about 150,000 trees per month that we plant. And that's equivalent to kind of put like that to a visual. So far, we planted about 5,622 football fields worth of forest.
That's a big number.
Yep, pretty large scale. So we're really proud of that. And then we've cleaned just over 10,000 pounds of trash out of the ocean as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Well, you said just over 4 years and you're about to hit 4 million. So you're, right on pace for 1 million trees a year. I'd say that's pretty doggone substantial.
Yeah, especially considering it took us about 1.5 years to get our first 100,000. So we really, ramped it up. We had to bootstrap it. Like I said, I was in the middle of the woods on dial-up internet, and luckily it's compounding, and we're doing good numbers, and we hope that grows.
Absolutely, Matt. I didn't even realize dial-up internet was still a thing. Is it still? I guess it's still a thing.
Yeah, up at the cabin. So I was literally in one of the national forests that we plant in, and
okay.
my cabin that I was in, it didn't even have cell phone service. So I had hardwired dial-up internet. I had to last on that for a whole summer, and then the next one, luckily, Starlink came out, and then we had decent internet. So I just converted.
Yeah, that's funny. Now you mentioned a national forest, and that's at least one of the places where you plant. So is it exclusively national forest, or do you plant elsewhere also?
So we plant an assortment of different ways. We plant a ton in the national forest. Those are the big sites that we can join, and we can really plant at bulk. So that's like where a lot of the trees go. But we really interact with the customer a lot of times. So, maybe on a fleet level, this would look a little bit different, but like on an individual purchase, we usually give something to the customer. They can take a tree kit to go home. Even on a fleet level, we work with businesses around our partners. So schools that are nearby. Yep. We'll give trees to the kids there. We'll kind of put on a promotion for our partner. And so we do a couple different ways. And then sometimes if partnerships get large enough, we will plant a dedicated forest in their name. So then we'll make a, forest in the, memory, or I guess in honor of our partner. And we plop that as close as we can to them.
That's interesting. That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what have we missed, Matt? What else do you think people should know about the program?
I just think like the most important thing is that we are very flexible and we're very easy to work with. And that's our whole goal. So if you're listening to this, and you're like, how would that fit into my business? We've gotten really good at figuring out how to do it. And we've gotten to figure out really a way to like have everybody come out with as a winner. Essentially, we create win-win-win scenarios. Yeah. So if you can just give us a chance, reach out, have a conversation with us. At the end of the day, it could really help your business, and it could really help the planet, and it can help the customers have an elevated, buying experience with you, really. So, give it a shot. We're super easy to work with, and hopefully we can figure something out.
The win-win-win. I certainly am a fan of that. And I think most people are, right? Hey, I can help the planet. I can help my business. I can help my customers. Everybody wins. That's not necessarily something that always happens. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what we shoot for. I mean, it's all about reciprocity, right?
Yeah, you know what? I would agree. It's a great way to, both parties or all parties are really giving back to each other a little bit. So I like that approach a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Matt. Again, it's Matt Kallstrom with the Global Improvement Group. Appreciate you spending a few minutes with us today.
Thanks for having me, Steve. Thank you.